Good afternoon, Mr. Cartier. Being an avid skier myself, I can appreciate how a local mountain can really be a solid backbone for a community. Growing up, I could remember the thrill of school field trips and a sense of excitement that mountains can offer to all individuals. We are excited to be able to provide you with our consulting services. I'll pass it to my partner to outline our presentation.
To give you an outline on today's discussion, we will address the following areas. We begin with a situation analysis. We then address Drowling's ideal outcome and options to reach this outcome. Then our recommendation, action plan, and conclusion will follow.
We begin with Drowling's strengths, the first being the board, who have shown a commitment to the resort and have the skills and desire to return Drowling to become a sustainable operation. Customers value the mountain's challenging runs, which help to distinguish it from the competitors. Another strength is the resort has a tight connection with the people and government of Syracuse. We have analyzed the areas of operation, and the auxiliary operations are all profitable. There are high capital costs which create barriers to entry, limiting the number of competitors. These strengths give us optimism that the situation for Drowling can be remedied, since it does have such a strong support and can be improved by fixing unprofitability from the skiing operation. Here's my associate to address weaknesses.
There are certainly some weaknesses that need to be addressed. For the past 2 years, Drowling had posted losses leading to liquidity problems, limiting the options at our disposal, since options must be involving a minimal investment. The unfavorable financial position has led to a quick ratio of 0.02, which is extremely low and makes addressing Drowling's issues even more pressing, since insolvency could result if things continue as they are. Relative to competitors, Drowling has higher prices, which may explain the declining number of visitors. While high capital expenses and maintenance costs act as a barrier to entry, they also lead to high fixed costs, which requires a certain number of visitors to spread these costs over. Drowling is also highly leveraged, resulting in high interest payments, which are a drain on cash flow and likely limits your ability to gain financing. There is also the seasonality of the sport, and fixed costs must be covered within a 4-month period.
There are a number of opportunities available to Drowling. Summer activities such as biking, hiking, and scenic tours would help increase revenues and spread fixed costs of operation more evenly throughout the year. Drowling can also reduce the selling price of tickets to increase attendance. My partner will now discuss threats facing Drowling.
There are a number of threats that you must be aware of. First and foremost is the threat from rival ski hills. They are already priced relatively lower than Drowling and compete in the same target market. The economic downturn affects your resort, since individuals have less discretionary income and less spending on leisure. Environment and weather patterns also pose a significant risk, as Drowling could be affected by warm winters, which would cut the skiing season short and potentially devastate the resort financially. We will now discuss an ideal outcome for Drowling Mountain.
In order to return to become a sustainable operation, an ideal situation would allow Drowling to return to profitability, allowing them to begin retiring their debt. The increase in profitability would be generated by increasing revenue through increased visitors. We will now talk about options.
I would like to address the first option, which would require a change to the pricing scheme. This option would require that Drowling Mountain reduces their prices to half the difference between their current pricing scheme and that of Devil's Hill. Since the school, group, night, and other ticket prices are the same as Devil's Hill, these prices will not be affected by a change in pricing. However, the other prices will be reduced. While this will reduce the revenue received for the tickets, this will be offset by an increase in attendance. By introducing this new pricing scheme, we expect that a break-even increase in attendance of 3% would be required to offset the loss of revenue. The difference being offset by the additional attendees, generating supporting revenue through restaurant sales, ski rentals, etc. At a likely scenario of an increased attendance of 10%, we project that this will add an incremental benefit of $141,000. An optimistic increase in attendance of 20% will lead to an incremental benefit of just over $294,000. This figure would require an attendance of 63,000 visitors, which is attainable given there were 64,000 in 2006. However, for the sake of being conservative, we will project a 10% increase. While this option does reduce the loss to roughly $219,000 and does increase top-line revenue, by itself it does not return Drowling to a level of profitability. It also helps to bring their pricing strategy more in line with their competitors and would appeal to non-skiers, increasing attendance due to their high level of price sensitivity.
Regarding off-season activities, this option involves opening the ski hill, restaurant, and hotel in the summer while outsourcing a bike rental shop on site. Every tent chair will be converted to carry bikes for the inclusion of downhill mountain biking. The cost of opening these facilities in the summer and converting the chairs is $946,000. Based on a lift ticket price of $24 and excluding rental revenue, total top-line revenue generated will be $1.5 million, resulting in the profits of $631,000, which includes a 20% royalty from the outsourced bike rental shop. 18,700 summer visitors are required to break even. However, our estimated amount of visitors is 35,700, resulting in a cushion of 47%. 35,700 visitors are based on 11% of our potential market of Syracuse area divided by our local number of competitors with summer activities. Of these visitors, we estimate they would visit twice. Bike rentals will be outsourced initially as this is not our core competency and it will reduce costs and thus risk. We feel the royalty of 20% is reasonable considering the bike shop will make a return of 100% return on investment in the first year.
Exiting the industry is the last resort if Drowling cannot return to profitability. This option results in Drowling liquidating its assets. Drowling had net losses in 2009 and 2010, resulting in a deficit of $360,000. Despite your revenue potentially covering variable and fixed costs, the long-term debt keeps you in a critical financial position. Shutting down the resort and selling its capital assets at 60% of book value to potential buyers would cover all your long-term debt. Drowling can make a profit from shutting down if it can sell its assets for more than 60% of book value. One risk of shutting down is that there won't be a market to sell Drowling's assets due to the large capital investment. If unsold, Drowling will bear a $3.5 million loss of capital assets.
We recommend implementing a new price scheme and summer activities. This increases profits by a total of $571,000. We feel price reductions will result in a 10% increase in attendance. We feel this is reasonable because it is well within the range of visitors they had between 2006 and 2010. Drowling's quick ratio will be increased to 0.21. While this won't completely solve Drowling's liquidity problems, the excess profit of $211,000 will pay down Drowling's large debt. Based on sustained profitability, the debt will be eliminated in 6.5 years. Ultimately, this will eliminate the large fixed interest charge of $351,000.
To implement these options, we must present these ideas to the board on the new pricing scheme and the summer activities and get approval. Once and if the board passes these plans, we will implement the pricing scheme in time for the new ski season, relying primarily on existing advertisement and word of mouth to get the message out. During the winter, we would also like to begin our plan to introduce the summer season so that word of mouth can be created using existing winter customers. We would then need to set up the labor force necessary to facilitate the summer activities and partner with an already established bike shop. Before the summer season starts, the chairlifts will need to be converted and bike shop will need to be set up. We project this would allow you to generate a surplus of cash, which we would recommend using towards a long-term debt reduction plan and generating a fund to keep money on hand for any future capital expenditures.
While the prospects you have faced over the past few years have been very challenging, we do believe that the recommendations we have presented will help Drowling in returning to a sound financial position and be able to continue serving the good people of Syracuse.